Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Saints channel. We have some CLOL Week 4 action. It's going to be the Saints taking on Western University. I'm Theo, known as the Holy Juan, joined by Gabriel. How are you feeling today on this wonderful Friday?
Honestly, quite well. Excited to be here. It's not usually the time that we're gonna have a broadcast, so a lot more awake than usually. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, early stream, it is a reschedule, but
Yep.
we are going to see a great matchup between two of the top Canadian teams. What I heard, I spoke to some players before the game. They said Western probably the second best team in all of Canada behind the Saints. So should definitely be a very competitive matchup, and it's going to be interesting if Saints can hold on to their number one crown.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of the things that we're going to see, right, since we're looking at the two best teams in Canada, we're going to be seeing a lot more of, I'll call it a meta hug, right? They're going to be picking and banning the same characters, all right? If there's one character that just sticks out, I'd be surprised. All right, you're gonna be seeing Cassantes and Ambessas. You're gonna see Mels and Hueys. You're gonna see Callista, Ash. Like it's gonna be the most generic drafts you have ever seen because these guys need to hug the meta if they really want to win.
Yeah, the meta is the meta for a reason. Let's take a look at the patch notes. Some characters from the meta have been touched up, mainly Hui, Callista, the only two champs you'd really be seeing. And we got some buffs for Ashe, which we probably might see today. Echo Gangplank characters you don't see too often. Nautilus Scion, though, characters very prevalent in the meta. So some interesting change there in the patch notes. I don't think the meta will be too different. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, what really sticks out to me is actually the Jace, right? Previously, the Jace was a little bit of a meta when you played him tanky. Right, it was like not Gore Drinker, but another item that made him relatively tanky, right, for a Jace, and he could still, deal a good amount of damage to your ADC. But previously, they kind of nerfed him to get rid of that and buffed his AD ratios. But if they're buffing him again, that means that he's going to be a lot more of that assassin-centric build, and you might even see him in that mid lane just to either shred those mages or shred those ADCs.
Yeah, I would love to see a Jace today. Definitely, as you said, get a strong character, that relatively strong character getting buffs should definitely improve his core gameplay. Do you think any of these nerfs to Hui and Callista is gonna have an impact on their place in the meta?
Yes and no. I mean, Callista's always going to be a priority pick just in terms of like her overall strength, right? Callista is great for securing objectives. Very hard to get onto with all those dashes, right? You've got good utility with the like wraiths to get some vision. There's just a lot of aspects of Callista's kit that really help keep her in the meta. Granted, if she's nerfed into the ground, she won't be there, but like it takes a lot of nerfs to get Callista out of there, right? And same thing when you're looking, like Scion got buffed, right? Scion is still relevant pretty much no matter what, because at the end of the day, he's a walking ruby crystal. Like he's just a health tank. Why is he in the meta? Because you just play some top or expect a lane swap and play some bot. If he dies, oh well, not the end of the world. What are we losing? Gold on Scion. It's a nothing burger, right? Um, so it's going to be really interesting to see that. And of course, the Ashe. The Ashe is what I'm really looking out for because I love auto attack ADCs. All right, seeing auto attack ADCs really kite their opponents is really cool. Just mainly the Ashes because they're really annoying when they kite you, right? Because they're always slowing you, and it's like, okay, come on, just let me get to you. But when there's a lot of dashes in the meta, mainly with that Mbessa, maybe the Ashe isn't going to be the priority pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Ash probably gonna be relevant, but one thing that is gonna be relevant is gonna be Ricky subbing in today for Sama.
Yes,
Hasn't played
in
for
a while.
in a while for the team, but a very capable player. He, Challenger was playing all day yesterday,
Yep.
so good for him. And he's about as locked in as you can. He's playing very good. Plays a lot of very hard carry champs up in the top lane. Has a bit
That
of a
is true.
different pool from Sama, so it's gonna be interesting how
Mhm.
teams play against the Saints now that Ricky's back in the starting line.
Yeah, because like when you're looking at Ricky, right, as a player, compared to Sama plays a lot of those meta characters that you're looking at, and he doesn't shy away from those ranged top laners like the Gnar, right? But if you look at Ricky, he knows that he's not playing ranged top laners. He's going to be playing that Darius. He's going to be playing that Olaf. we've seen his Aatrox a few times. He'll be glad to be on tank duty as long he will never just play a ranged top laner, right? Um, so it's gonna be interesting to see how the Saints play around Ricky instead of Sama, because Sama definitely plays a lot more into that utility top laner, whereas Ricky is able to say, okay, you know what, I'm gonna lock in Darius and win. Period.
Yeah, Ricky is able to do that. You could see the whole team on the stage feeling good, probably getting ready to get into draft and talking about it. Big thing here. It's not fearless draft here like
No.
it is in some of the other Saints matches. So, uh, as you said, we're gonna see probably the same characters over and over, but it's gonna be interesting. Maybe there's a pocket pick by either side that the other team isn't ready for. Do you think either the Saints or Western will have something that like really surprises both teams?
Honestly, it depends what you consider a pocket pick, because like these guys can play anything, right? Like within reason, all right, they can play anything. So if you put the meta characters in the hands of your players, you're gonna have the best results, right? And these guys know that they're going up against essentially a team with borderline the same strength as them, right? So first of all, predictions is that this is going to a game three. But because of that, we're gonna see so much meta hugging that I don't think there's place for a comfort pick or a pocket pick, unless there's like a specific counter pick that doesn't really usually fall into the meta, but because they pick something else, then okay, it can work. Um, but even then, like I'd be surprised.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if either team has anything cooked up. A lot of random picks you could go. Like a thing that's been pretty irrelevant as of late has been the Elise support. Uh,
That is true.
it's like
Yes.
not something you will ever see, but if it's the right circumstances, could be strong. Something like a Pantheon support. Usually we see the Nautilus, Leona, stuff like that. Enchanters haven't really been seeing that too much. What are the ADCs that you'd say are best with engaged supports and ADCs that are best with enchanters?
Well, see, that's the thing. As we're going into draft here, you were talking about the Elise support. Elise is the best support, in my opinion, for like the early game. She has 6 abilities instead of 4, right? Or like three
Three.
technically in the early game, right?
Yeah.
So she just has more damage available. She has a CC. She has an escape for tower dives. Like she is a perfect support. We just don't play her that way because people are so locked into the mindset that she's a jungler.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion.
I agree. I think she has a perfect kit, especially in this lane swap meta. Makes tower diving so easily. But let's see what the draft has for us today. Saints on blue side, Western University on the red side. Saints ban out the Jace, the Rumble, and the Vi, and wins. Western University
Yep, there's the
take off
Callisto.
Skarner, Aurora, and Callista. So a lot of strong picks, and Saints just gonna instantly lock in first pick Varus.
So this is probably gonna be a poke Varus, knowing the Saints. Unfortunately, I personally prefer when he's attack speed, but it is what it is. The Cassante and Aphelios on the answer here is kind of an interesting thing. Usually you're gonna want to lock either your ADC with your support, or if you're gonna reveal your hand in the top lane, you're gonna maybe have a jungler with it. But no, this is just top and bot picked up instantly, and the answer is Ricky's Olaf. Now this is gonna be a threat.
Yeah, definitely. And the Nunu gonna get picked up by Maddie. Very good choices. Obviously, Olaf does great into Cassante if played properly, and he can just run over Aphilio Zinzao. So, Saints very happy with this draft so far. Not too much range here for Western University to hold off against that Nunu Olaf. And now we're gonna see the Nautilus ban come out. Lulu
Ooh,
gonna
yeah.
get banned out by
Doesn't make
Sinclair.
sense.
Don't want to give Aphelios a Lulu, that's
Hell no.
for sure. And Renata Glass gonna be banned out by Western here. Just support bans. Both teams don't want to be going up against these supports. Karma ban. I mean, I can't tell
Yeah.
you the last time I've seen a Karma, but
I can see it
I
for
could see it.
Aphelios.
Yeah, it could definitely be a good ban. And it's going to be Rakan picked up
Okay.
here by Western. A very good choice.
Yeah, no, for sure. Here with that Rakan, you can get that enchanting slash engage, right? He's the mix between the enchanter and the engage support. The Poppy to counter that specifically, actually, the Poppy pick here is absolutely terrific. I believe this is a Poppy support. Stops the engage from Rakan, from Xin Zhao, can stop a few of Cassante's dashes. This is beautiful. The Talia just to like cement that in that no, we are not dashing today, ladies and gentlemen. And then the Swain. Okay, now this is something that I didn't expect. But if it was like a few weeks ago, I would have expected because there have been a lot of Swain buffs lately, right?
Yep. Yep.
But like now that the players have actually experimented with the Swain, they've kind of realized that like yeah, Swain's pretty good,
Yeah.
right? Mainly in the right conditions, right? Swain is a mage who likes being in the middle of the battle so that he can lifesteal on as many people as possible. Olaf is gonna be in there. He's melee. You've got Nunu and Willem, who's in there. They're gonna be melee. You've got Poppy, who's gonna be melee. Talia, relatively short range at the end of the day, right? Once you get that Rylas, you're going to be getting a good amount of lifesteal if you just jump in there, right? Just a good old alt flash, which slows the entire enemy team, gets you into like a distraction state. You have Cassante to kind of tank on top of that and or isolate someone, get a good ult in. Aphelios to, well, Aphelios. Press alt with the blue gun and go burr. Um, and then you've got the Sin Zhao again for that early game. This is a very well done draft, honestly.
Yeah, I think both drafts are just very, very well done. Definitely some unique picks. Poppy support, Nunu jungle, not something you will see every day. And I definitely have to say Western have a pretty good draft here because this Swain's going to be hard to kill.
Yeah.
Saints going for a very pick-heavy comp. Talia, Varus, Poppy, Nunu, 4 champs that after they use all their cooldowns on one person, they don't really have too much
No.
to go after. So I definitely hope that the Saints go for on-hit Varus here. I don't think
For sure, yeah.
going poke Varus into the Swain, Cassante is going to be a good
You're
play.
not going to kill those.
And then if you do go for the poke, you're basically relying on this Olaf to run through the entire backline, which, I mean, it's possible, but very unlikely.
I mean, knowing Ricky, he's probably going to try and go for those risky plays to get those solo bolos on that Cassante, right? Because
Yeah.
it's Ricky. He's playing Olaf. He needs to get those 1v1 kills,
Yeah.
or else, Olaf is kind of a feast or famine character. If he's equal, he's kind of behind.
Yeah.
But if you look at Cassante, Cassante breaks even. He doesn't care. But yeah, one of the main things that I think really kind of screws over is this mid lane matchup of Talia versus Swain. That's not the best of matchups for Talia, right? Swain has some passive regen with his passive, right? He stacks health. Talia doesn't have all that much percent max health damage. So you're looking at basically a character who, like the minefield, doesn't really do much unless you actually get the flip. So you're not countering anything in terms of dashes, so it needs to be used semi-defensively or used for poke. So there's a lot of little aspects from that mid lane matchup that's going to be a little bit harder for the Saints to play with. But again, the age-old question now, is there going to be a lane swap?
That is an important question. I mean, it could happen. Honestly, I have no idea. It could happen. It could not happen. It's just matters on what teams have done with their research, how they feel this lane. I mean, I definitely think the Varus is going to be stronger a bit earlier on the game than the Aphelios.
For sure, yes.
So if anyone wants to go for a swap, it should definitely be Western. But I feel like the Saints might realize that they might try and counter swap. And I feel like if it's just the matchups they want, if the Olaf's up against the Cassante, if the ball lane's up against the ball lane, I feel like Saints would be happy with that. If it's anything other than that, I think Western get the better of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one because if you have, Ricky getting dove at level 1, level 2,
Not good.
Ricky's behind, that's not good. That's not good at all. So they probably want to look for a lane swap to screw over Ricky. But at the same time, they're also saying, okay, well, if they swap our swap, then we lose. So it's kind of that like, okay, well, let's flip a coin and see who's right.
Yeah, basically a bit of a coin flip. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, like, really early in the game where teams set up. Do Saints go 5-man into Bop Rush? Does Western match them there? Like, how much vision can one team get over the other to maybe see the swap incoming? Obviously, you don't want to send one player on one side and one to another, because if the one player gets met by 5, there's
You
going to
get
be
caught.
there's going to be a lot of problems there. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I think the early game is definitely going to be the more important part here. In the team fights, I mean, the Saints are very mechanically good and they know how to play their team fights well. I feel like if Lig and Ricky are relatively in the game, it's going to be a great game for them.
Well, and that's what we see a lot when we see the Saints play, right? It's okay, yeah, the early game was either very good and they just completely steamroll, or it's like, okay, yeah, the early game was a little rough, but then all of a sudden one team fight happens, and it's the same thing as when you're watching T1 play, right? The one team fight, and all of a sudden, oh, Saints are back on top. All right, cool. because they are very good, right? Their communication is one of the things that I am all like just marveling at because they are so good at it. They know how to prioritize their picks. They know who to call to catch out during those team fights, and they know how to prioritize their targets, right? The one of the hardest parts about League of Legends when you're playing in a team is coordination because when you play solo queue, it's kind of just, yeah, just hop into the mosh pit and hopefully everything works out fine, right? You just assume that everybody's going to do their own thing, and most of the time they don't, but it is what it is, right? But when you're playing in a team, you need to have that communication because in a team fight, yeah, okay, gold is relevant, but that gold is almost not going to do anything if you can't use it effectively, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If there's an ADC that's fed, but let's say the other team gets a nice flank and one shot the ADC, all that gold is for
It's gone.
nothing. So obviously, yeah, it's going to be important to have this a great positioning in team fights. I definitely expect Ricky to go on some flanks here, try and hit the Aphelios with one axe, press ult, run him down. I think
Yep.
that's the plan for these team fights for Ricky, and if he's able to do that, his job in the team fight is basically done. Then he just runs around, does whatever he wants. The rest of his team should be able to follow up on that. I think that's the big thing here. If Ricky can get fed on this Olaf and run through Western, I think the game becomes very easy for the Saints.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I liked about the Saint the draft from Western is when they drafted, they saw Ricky's Olaf and they said, okay, so we have our Aphelios. Let's not give him something else to jump on, right? Okay, yeah, he's gonna kill our Aphelios, but Ricky can't just sprint at I don't know like a Swain, right? You don't do
No,
that because it's Swain. He's just gonna leech off you,
he's
right?
gonna ult. Yeah.
So instead of picking one of those more meta mages like a Mal or a Hui, they went, okay, cool. You want to pick Olaf? We're gonna pick a Swain, and now you're gonna have to fight the meatball. It's a really smart way to draft, and I really like it. But here, as we are heading into this game, look at this macro going on. This is interesting. Oh wait, hold on. New ball coming in. They're going for the invade.
Yeah, they hit onto the Swain. I don't think they have a root. The
That's
Swain
a flash.
flashes early on. I mean, that's a great invade here from the Saints.
Wait a minute.
And they also get some information. The Aphelios is up towards this top lane. I don't know if they were able to spot that out or not, but it's going to be Western up in the top lane with their ball lane. Do the Saints have any idea that that could be the case? Matty throws down a ward. The Aphelios starts to back. I mean, a lot of trickery here. Varus is in the mid lane. I mean, I'm not sure. Aphelios decided to stay up there in the top lane. But if this Rakan gets spotted on this ward, Saints should know immediately that the lane swap's happening.
Yeah, for sure. And you can see here, Ricky is pathing towards the mid lane here. So when they see that
Rakan.
the Rakan shows up on vision, there you go. You can see him. He's deviating towards the bot lane there. And that's the kind of macro we like to see. That ward was instrumental to knowing where they wanted to go. And now, as we can see here, I'm just going to go over the runes, right? You've got in the top lane, well, now bot lane, you've got the Ricky's Olaf with Conqueror with versus Cassante on that Grasp of the Undying Ray, a very standard rune. Maddie picking up that phase rush on the Nunu, pretty standard. You've got the Xin Zhao with that standard Conqueror, just to get that extra healing. Ooh, yeah, a little engage here in the
A lot
top
of
lane.
damage. The Ignite comes through and forces the cleanse. I mean, Poppy's level 1 damage, really underrated and shows there as no cleanse for this ADC
Yep.
is big.
Most of that damage actually coming from the hail of blades
Yeah.
that the poppy has, right? Something that you see quite often now on
It's
those
good.
support poppies. It's really good. I mean, you throw your buckler, you charge them, you get 1-2, you give them the old 1-2, and it works really well. And here we can see that is a lethal tempo Varus. So yes, this is an on-hit Varus. I can't wait to see this in action. We can see here Flocon with the phase rush too, so going for a little bit more of a defensive rune on that Talia, because again, you're gonna get jumped, right? You kind of want that extra movement speed to get out, mainly with like a Xin Zhao, right? If you can proc that phase rush, you can possibly get out of range from that third auto attack
Oh.
that sends you airborne.
They're looking to dive here. There's a flash by Miracle. They get the kill on the Aphelios, but
Oh,
it's going to
no.
be 2 kills back for the Rakan. Still not the worst case scenario there for the Saints as they get the ADC who misses out on the XP. It's just, can Lig push in this next wave? Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. He's going to back up. It's a 2-4-1 for the side of Western, but it's Rakan who picks up both of the kills.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Gold, mainly in the early game, going to a support or going to an ADC is very, very important, right? So here we're looking at quite a significant loss for both the Saints and the Western. Oh,
Oh,
hold on.
there's
Gank in
a
the mid
fight
lane.
towards the mid lane. Miracle, only level 2, goes way too deep.
Yeah,
Not sure what he was thinking there. Gives Western another free kill.
yeah, no, okay, so here, as we can see, Western kind of out-macroing the Saints, and that's something that's important to keep in mind. Although in the top now, bot lane, Ricky is having, like, a pretty good time right now. Granted, he is taking a little bit of damage, but with Olaf, it's fine, right? You've got that kind of floating system with the passive healing. But I can't wait to see Ricky actually start to go in, right? Because that's what you really want to see when you're playing those kind of carry top laners, right?
They're swapping right now
Oh yeah, they
as
are.
Cassante is gonna sprint over to the top lane. Ricky though pushed in a bot wave. I mean, it's gonna be some missed waves here for Western as they try and find the swap. I think Saints just gonna instantly swap back, and they do. You can see Olaf running out top. So
Yep.
great macro here by the Saints. They make their enemies miss some minions. They don't miss any themselves, and that's gonna be big in XP and gold wise in the long run.
Yeah, and if you're looking at that mid lane here, Swain does have the kill on Talia, but is missing a decent amount of CS here. Gonna grab that wave finally, but Talia is down the TP. So that's something important to keep in mind, right? Both mid laners, no TP. So a little bit of a roams will not be happening anytime soon. But here, as we can see, we're getting that dragon spawning in, which is going to be a little bit of a priority. Flash used here, or was that a Hex Flash?
Hex flash.
Hex Flash, okay. Used for the engage, but not going to find anything. But here, as we get... Oh,
That fight in the mid lane. Swain not level 6 yet. Doesn't have flash up. A beautiful gank there from Maddie. Gives Flocon a nice kill to start the game.
Yeah, no, that's really good. So Saints are up to 2 kills, 3 for Western. We're looking at a pretty interesting movement here. They're seemingly heading to that mid lane. Oh yeah, they're jumping.
Yeah,
Bye-bye,
they see
Flocon.
Flocon, the knockup hits. Flocon getting a bit too greedy, pushing that extra wave in. Will fall for his troubles. A nice read there from Western, but they do drop an entire wave of bot lane for that play. And now there might be a fight in the bot side river. I think Saints just trying to not let them walk through into that bot lane to pick up that wave. So the kill goes over on to Flocon. The Dragon started up. It's probably going to go over to Western uncontested as Maddie is going to roll his way over to the top lane and start hitting on those grubs.
Yep, this is a classic trade of Grubs for Dragon. We've seen it before, we will see it again. But here, as we can see, right, teams are also fighting for those feats of strength, right? So that's something important to keep in mind. It's easy to forget about them because they kind of like feel so out of place.
Yeah,
But like,
they're
you
good.
get those feats of strength, you pretty much win.
Yeah, they're very, very strong, those feats of strength. And it's going to be Western who got the first 3 kills here, so they have some progress over to that. Here's going to be the push. Rakan gonna get the knock up on Miracle, who W'd a bit too late.
Oh.
He does E away on to the Zinzao. The Aphelios going in deep, doesn't pick up the kill,
Oh!
wastes his flash. Lig's gonna be able to pick that one up. A disaster turned into a great trade there for the Saints as they find the 2v3 kill.
Wow, that was an incredible performance by Miracle there, getting away with it, like, barely anything in terms of health left. Here they clear the wave, but, oh, they are looking for it. The dash?
Oh, good W there from Miracle. Stops the dash, gets the stun onto the Zhao. Beautiful job there by the Poppy. Outplayed it perfectly. And you can see it's hard for Western to really push in. But here's going to be the Flash W coming out from the Rakan Lig, though. Refusing to go down without a fight. Gets level 6. Roots up the Aphelios, but he has cleanse. Flashes away Lig, but he's going to go down as well. A bit too greedy there from the Saints. They give over a huge 2 kills to the Aphelios.
Yeah, this is a 3-2 Aphelios going up against a 1-1 Varus now. So a little bit more gold on that Aphelios for sure. And plus, this Aphelios does have Cull, right? So he is looking for that extra gold to come on through. And as we can see here, top lane, Ricky's doing what he's supposed to do. He's got a CS lead, which it's a good start. As we can see here, the Bramble Vest already started. Ooh.
Flash there from the Swain. Nice gank there by Maddie. Uses the ultimate as well. So good gank forces out some big utility here from the Swain.
Yeah, without that ult, the Swain is basically nothing. I mean, it's like the better part of a skit, right? So right now, as we look for possibly the next dragon, it's going to be interesting to see what comes up, what choices are made here. What pressure they're going to be using, because I don't think Swain's going to have ult back up for the next dragon here.
Oh, and in the bot lane,
Oh,
the Varus gonna be falling to the Aphelios. I'm not too sure how that happened because
oh,
Miracle
oh,
wasn't
oh,
there, but a
oh,
middle
auto attack.
Lokan trying to find the
Oh,
solo kill. So close, but is not able to find it. Now Nunu gonna snowball down to the ball, and this Aphelios has no flash. Can Maddie hit it? Yes, he does. Great job there from Maddie and Miracle. He gets the shutdown on the Nunu. He's building AP from the look of things.
yeah, I believe the build for Nunu right now is Leandri's Torment, and then
Oh,
into like tanky.
in the top lane, Ricky gonna pop that ult, pop that ghost, gets the flash off Cassante, but does not find the kill. Nothing too much brewing other than that.
Yep. And now Swain looking for revenge. Oh no, wait,
Oh,
hold on.
Flocon
Bye bye.
dies. Saints stepping up a little bit too